So I want to respond to this. I want to respond and give my thoughts and opinion on what I think about this video of these guys talking about consuming, drinking your urine, ingesting your own waste products, your urine for better health, right? In the name of better health, to promote better health, or more specifically, as they stated, to form and produce the promotion of stem cell formulation, right?
Everybody can do the two simple things: drink it, put it on your skin, sniff it up into your sinuses, put it in your ears, put it in your eyes, put it in your belly button, rub it all over your skin. And the easy way to make the evolved stem cell urine that you can use for regeneration is exactly what we just talked about. That is basically the simplest way that everybody can get started. So people say, well, I went to the doctor and I got my urinalysis and there's a bunch of metals in there, or I have glyphosate in my urine, or I have, all this stuff in my urine, these chemicals, these metals, these pesticides, or whatever. If I drink my urine, I'm just going to be reconsuming those. Well, so far we've got probably about 50 or 60 people that have been doing ongoing blood work, tests, analysis, and that have been consuming their own urine, and not one of them, not one, has their numbers gone up. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. All their numbers are going down. Now, what happens is, what we found is, when your body takes in these toxic chemicals, heavy metals, all this other stuff, your body actually disarms those and breaks those down. The kidneys filtration system is incredible, and the liver, breaks those down. Your body's breaking it all up, the urine's tearing it all down, and the fragments are coming out. As you consume the fragments back in, it's signaling the body to break more of that down and to release more of that from the system. After 18 days or after 21 days, some people do it 18, some people do it 21. It really doesn't matter, right? You're going to have in that urine at least 80 million to 120 million of your undifferentiated stem cells.
So the problem that I have, first and foremost, I want to say that I get the idea, I get his ideology and what he's trying to teach. I absolutely understand what he's trying to encourage, but for me, it's very important that I am mindful and careful about what information I'm taking in and what advice I'm taking in from certain people. And then, of course, some of the things that we see, the things that we hear, and then, as I said, the things that we that we retain as good medical or good advice in general. You have to be very careful about that. Now, say, that there was a situation or an instance where, situations called for survival because you're desperate and you're in literal survival mode, right? Your body is in literal survival mode. Like, for example, you're in the wild, you were hiking, you got lost in the mountains, you got lost in the forest, and you ran out of your food source, and you don't really have access to things such as electrolytes and vitamins and nutrients and supplements to replenish your body, right? So, I watched the show Running Wild with Bear Grylls back in the day. So, Bear Grylls, he actually consumed and drank his own urine from his shirt. He used his shirt as a filter, and he used the shirt as a filter to even to get certain water that would have been contaminated, and kind of rehydrated or attempted to rehydrate the body like that. So in situations like that where you're desperate and you're in absolute survival mode and you need something to keep your body functioning properly, right? You consume your urine in that instance, right? I can absolutely understand that. But for me, my thinking is, whatever the body does in its natural process is what we should respect and what we should let it do in its natural functioning state, because the body does what it does, and God's creation in its magnificence and in its sophistication, it functions and works at a certain capacity, in a certain type of unique, complicated way, so that all body systems work in unison, right? So I said that to say that when you're talking about elimination channels, whether that we're talking about the lymphatic system, and I want to give this disclaimer really quick before I continue, that I'm not a medical professional, and this is not medical advice, but this is my opinion. These are my thoughts on one drinking or consuming its own urine, or more specifically our own waste products, right? So in the natural way that the body functions and its elimination pathways, the kidneys, the urinary tubes, the bladder, the urinary bladder, and the ureters, those things, the urethra, all of that is related, and it works in unison to promote, the elimination process. So as we know, there's the liver, which is a filtration system, and then there's the kidneys. So if the body is doing these things to eliminate these toxins, it's everything that we consume, right? It's not just the foods and the drink and the beverages that we consume, but it's the things that we spray on our body. It's the lotions, if you're like me, where you like to smell good, look good, you like smell good stuff, and you use different oils and lotions and things like that. Things in your environment, what we clean with, the things in the air, the chemicals, the chemicals that they spray in the air, the things that we inhale, the things that we put in our body. If you have like amalgams in your mouth, the metals, if you are a big seafood consumer such as myself, the foods that you consume. Seafood has, is known to have a lot of heavy metals. I said household cleaning products, different things that we consume in our bodies. So our bodies take a beating, even when we don't think that it takes a beating. So the point that I'm trying to make in this, at this particular point in the video, is that when we talk about the elimination channels in the body, the structure and the different organs and things that I described is one thing, but it all works together. To the kidneys create the urine, and then the urine, it excretes out all of these toxins, to include proteins and all these compounds and these chemicals and all of these things. The individual, the man in the video, said, people talk about, the body eliminating certain things, and, people in our study or our research, their labs didn't show that they had this and that they had that. But if the body is excreting something, and that is nature's natural process, and you're not in survival mode and you're not desperate, why would you consume your own urine? Why would you want to put waste products and toxins back into your body? Because when you know what the body does in the role of the kidneys and everything that, how it creates urine and how urine is excreted, and the things, again, the contents therein, the contents of the urine, anyone in their right mind would say, yeah, no, I don't want to put poison back into my body, essentially, is what it is. The urine, it contains proteins, electrolytes, it contains toxins, the heavy metals, all of the things that you're trying to release. When you're doing a detox, and when you're fasting, and when you're trying to rid the body of certain things, a lot of people who are privy to this information and are, kind of have a general knowledge of how the body works, that we actually depend on, and we highly value the process of urination, the process of elimination, whether that's defecation or whether that's urination. And I apologize, excuse me, to anyone if I'm getting a little bit too graphic, but I mean, we're all human, right? I mean, let's be honest, we just, being absolutely, real and raw with it. If we're going to be, sharing information, and for me to give, my, what I would like to consider my intelligent perspective, then I just want to make it clear. I want to make myself clear, and I want to, say it in a way where people can understand. So, when the body is releasing, when the body is eliminating, I think that what people do is that they get desperate in trying to play God or to reinvent certain things to work. And don't get me wrong, a lot of reinventions and these different ideas and things, it works. But what I found is that a lot of it doesn't work for everybody. What works for one person doesn't work for another. But then when you talk about stem cell research and the whole point of his message, there's people like myself, and Henrietta Lacks. If you know who Henrietta Lacks is, they say that they're still using her cells to this day, and they had to pay her family a substantial amount of money because they were using her stem cells, because her stem cells, they were still using it for studies, for treatment of disease, and creating treatment products, prescription drugs, you name it. That's how powerful her cells are. And thus, such as someone like myself, we tend to have those that certain type of DNA and genetic makeup. So that is pretty much an advantage. But if you're not at an advantage, then that might be your something that is advantageous to want to use their own waste products to create stem cells within their own bodies. What I would say is, urea in the urine is made of compounds, and it does something with the body to its role and function is a part of the metabolic process. So why is this important, and why is that significant? Well, when we talk about the metabolic processes, is the building up and breaking down of different things, the things that we consume, not just the things that we put in our bodies, but our environments and the things that we are exposed to. And when you talk about the metabolic process, elimination is a part of the metabolic processes, the breaking down of compounds, proteins, and these different things that are in the body. And the process of metabolism and the metabolic process actually helps to keep us healthy. So what makes sense to me is to allow the body to work its natural process and to not interfere with that. When you interfere with that, or when you do too much, that's when we start seeing things that go out of whack, or you see disease, or things that doesn't make sense. Unexplained medical mysteries and things of such, right? Not saying that regularly consuming your urine is going to do that, but to me, it's really not too far-fetched. Because why would you want to put your own waste back into your body? It's kind of like with a woman and her natural processes monthly. Some women say, oh, if you don't, because you're on birth control, you're taking a pill. And then some women, for different reasons, contraception being one of the reasons, that they don't have a menstrual cycle every month, they'll say, oh, you don't need to. Well, if you didn't need to, then your body wouldn't be naturally made to eliminate your endometrium and your menstrual contents, right or wrong. I mean, I'm just saying, like, can we just really make it make sense? Because the way that it makes sense to me is, if it wasn't meant to happen, or if we weren't meant to have it, then it wouldn't happen, or we wouldn't have it. It's like people who get the wrong medical advice and they get rid of different organs and things. Well, I think that you should want to have everything in this world that you were born with, right? Okay, well, let me not get too far into that, because I don't want to offend anybody, but that's my thinking. So again, back to the elimination processes. When it comes to, a woman's menstrual cycle and thing, that is a part of her detoxification and her cleansing as well. So I think that we should let nature take its natural course. And I think that when nature calls, we should let nature do its thing, and not to, reintroduce to the body the waste products. Now, if you want to, before I get into the different things that promotes stem cell production, another thing that is in urine is something that's called uric acid. And too much uric acid in the body can wreak havoc on the system, on your body systems. And one of the things that can create uric acid, or one of the things or symptoms, some of the symptoms of high levels of uric acid is, you can have inflammation, you can have gout, you can have, different pains and things. And when the body doesn't eliminate, then you start seeing things like extreme acne, and it puts a strain on the kidneys when there's a lot of toxins that is reintroduced and produced in the body. You know, people, they do medical research, and it seems as though, you know, putting certain invaders or foreign invaders in the body, one of those processes is like reintroducing the body to, you know, those toxins or compounds. And when it comes to foreign invaders, you introduce it into, you know, the fighter cells. I believe that's going to be your T cells and your white blood cells, your army cells and your fighter cells. So then you know, their ideology is to, you know, you reintroduce it and the body goes to attack it. So thus it creates a stronger immune system. And in some cases, again, I absolutely agree with that. My problem that I have with reintroducing waste products such as your own urine and consuming your own urine is, again, there is so many toxic products and waste products in your waste fluid, aka your urine. So letting nature take its course, uric acid is very toxic. And then again, it can wreak havoc on your body, and it can create so many issues. If someone wants to, you know, they want to create new stem cells, or they want to supplement the production of stem cells, there are different things that you can do, like eating certain things like antioxidants, foods rich in antioxidants. Berries are rich in antioxidants. Vitamin C is rich in antioxidants. ALA, which is alpha lipoic acid, is a strong antioxidant. And then, you know, your omega-3 fatty acids as well also supplements the production of creating and generating stem cells for you know, the function of what stem cells do, which is like, you know, fighting off disease and strengthening the body and things. So anyways, I just wanted to share my thoughts and my opinion on what I think about consuming your own urine and reintroducing into the body toxic waste products and things. I would definitely like to know what you think about this. Please share with me what you think about consuming your own urine.